Alright lads, so we have finally done it. We officially beat Bleach Brave Souls. I've been quite vocal about this, giving you that monthly updates on my journey in Bleach Brave Souls to T20 my entire books. Maxed out every single character that I actually do own. And as of yesterday, during our live stream, we finally did it. We're going to end it on the character that started it all. And he somehow has a link on. How have I done this? How am I using that? Free Renji. Big up the boys that sold him and no longer have him. This is for you. There we go. Let's let it play out. Woo! It's done. It's done. to be fair, we're done. There we go. If we sort by T10. Look at that. Sort by level 30 link sorts. There's no more characters. Of course, you know I had to end it starting with the character we all started with, Free Renji, but as you can see, we're finally done. At this point in time, I have no idea what I'm going to do, considering that this is something that I've been working on for like the last 4-ish years for the most part, maybe even longer than that. And ultimately, the main reason why I've done all of this, just to max my entire books, it was for one dumb reason, but I think it was maybe a good of a reason enough, and that was simply put, a few years ago, when even getting one character to level 10 link shots was hard enough, Caleb added a system where if you got a character to T10, their level color would change. It would go from green to red, and it was that simple change that made me push to link shot my entire box to level 10 link shots. 10, 10, 10. At the time, that was the max, and at the time, that also took a while too. But as time went by, characters got better, we then got access to link shot characters, and overall, it made link shotting easier. Epic raids also became a good place to farm link shot potions, and over time, I eventually got every character to level 10 link shots. Around the same time that I did do that, Caleb then added level 20 link shots, and you know, at this time, we kind of joked about it, that I would eventually T20 my entire books once more. That was kind of just a joke. I wasn't actually serious about it. I was at the time just link shotting all the characters that I wanted to link shot, but back then it was also really hard, especially as someone in the EU. When IT first came out and level 20 link shots came out, just like Inheritance Zone, you could only do one run at any given time. You couldn't do a 5 times run. And for IT, Inheritance Trials, it was only available during certain hours of the day. If you were in the EU, you barely had any time to farm it because the time zone was kind of bad for us. So while I was farming it at times, you know, I knew at the time I was never going to max out my entire books. But again, similar to IZ, when it came to level 10 link shots, it got easier over time. Character got better. We then got access to super link shot farmers that are also really good. We then also got access to the fact that we could do 5 times IT, and IT was then available throughout the entire day. And since then, I've been farming. Every time I logged into the game, I would go spend most of my tickets in co-op. And that has come with the negatives that I couldn't farm point events that much, get like a large amount of summon tickets that I would like to get. As of late, my level, even though I'm currently level 151, which is quite high, I've been going up at a slower pace because I have to spend most of my time in co-op, where you have to like manually play more often than not. You know, point event farming is by far the best way to go when it comes to leveling up your account, and that's definitely what I'm going to be doing now that I've finished my entire books, getting everyone to T20. Now, of course, I was also smart with my time when it came to the farming and the grind, because I would only farm during certain periods, right? Let's say IZ. I only farmed IZ when it was on a 2 times drop rate. Droplet Zone, I would only farm when it was on a 3 times or 2 times drop rate. And I will say, the droplet farmers that we did get since the 8th anniversary have greatly increased the amount of droplets that I can farm, and they definitely sped up the process, because I will say, out of all the items that I could farm in this game, by far, the most awkward is droplets. It doesn't help that droplets don't have access to rainbow droplets, but link shot potions, I go to Inheritance Zone. I go to Epic Raids. Super link shot potions, I go to Inheritance Trials. Droplets, you can go to Epic Raids, you can go to Droplet Zone, but recently, you know, like a year ago, they changed Droplet Zone and made it worse because they split up the lobbies, and then, you know, no one's really playing Droplet Zone because it's just not worth it. So that made it awkward to farm droplets. You can farm droplets in Epic Raids, and that's definitely a good place to do it, but mostly everyone's bringing, you know, link shot increase characters, and rarely you get a full lobby of just focusing on droplet increase. It was still a good place to farm nonetheless, and that's essentially how I went about doing my farm. And the crazy thing is, even though I have gone ahead and link shot every character T20, I still have like a large amount of resources left over. I'm still going to do some extra bit of farming. Ideally, I do want to get my super links or potions into the 30k numbers, just so I can have an excess amount of materials for my other characters that I potentially pull in the future. As long as my links or potions are above 100k, I think that's a good number to have. And then my droplets, I also want to get into 100k. And as of right now, really, I only got to do some extra heart farming for heart droplets. But yeah, basically since the last 2 or so years, we finally went ahead and link sorted my entire box. Now, for those that are wondering, what does a box look like when it has every character in your box link sorted? For those that don't know, that number is exactly 657 characters that we have gone ahead and leveled up to level 20 link sorts. With that, my battle power is now 3.57 million. Link sort levels in particular giving me almost 1.2 million extra battle power. This right now is going to be my hard cap. The only way I can increase this battle power is if I pull new characters and if I do some transcending, but transcendence, as you can see, doesn't offer nearly as much as compared to link sort levels. And for those wondering, since I went ahead and got over 657 characters link sorted at level 20, how many items was that actually used on characters? Well, it's on your screen right now. When it comes to the droplets, we farmed almost 5 million, 4.9 million to be exact. That is how many droplets I used to T20 all my characters. When it comes to links or potions, we farmed over 5 million. 5,420,000. And then when it came to super links or potions, just shy of 2 million, 1.97 million is what it took to get every character to tier 20. Now, since we have gone ahead and linked with all my characters, I do want to give some shout-outs to some characters. Highlight some of the characters that really helped me farm all these links or potions, all these droplets, and of course, all these super links or potions. First up, let's look at the super links or potion characters. And there's no better character to start it off than Tensa Zangetsu. Now, in my case, I actually didn't get him on my main account. Luckily, I had access to 3 accounts. At the time, I only had 2 accounts, my main and my first ult. And my ult account pulled on this banner and pulled him. At the time, I was using Chris's Noelle. And Chris's Noelle, you know, she did her own. She did her own. She was the first super links farmer. And she was my go-to farmer for epic raids. Especially epic raids because she had a very hard-hitting soul bomb. But when it came to super links or potions, she was most ideal when she had killer. Off killer, the runs were still slow, but at the time, that was kind of like the average, right? Like 2-minute clear time with a full link slot lobby, if anything. Tensa came around and changed that all, and I got him in my side account, so my old account, whenever it was speed day, would host with Tensa, my main account would just join and get carried. Couple months later, let's say 6 months or so later, I finally pulled Tensa, and I would start carrying my main. But I will say, I'm definitely more impressed, obviously, with Senjumaru. She was the character that I needed that made me do that final push. Despite Tensa being like the first god tier farmer, when it came to super links or potions, my power characters were one of the last attributes that I finished because, I don't know, Tensa's great. Like, he plays the exact same as Senjumaru, but I had just significantly more fun with Senju. So, when I finally pulled her and I got her 4-5, you know, back at the end of November, that's when I did my final push and linked sort of like 20 or so characters in the course of like a month or so. She was definitely my go-to farmer and now still is my go-to farmer when it comes to links or potions and also droplets. Now, when it comes to, I guess, links or potions, I do have access to some of the plus 10 characters. Like, Mila Rose is great. Haven't actually used it yet because I haven't had to. I've already linked sorted all my characters when I actually pulled her, or got the amount of links or potions that I needed. So these plus 10 characters would have been great, but by the time I actually started to get them, I already had enough links or potions and all the attributes, so it didn't matter that much. But I do know in IZ I did a lot of autoing, so those characters that could auto became really, really clutch. In this case, Bogo, also my first super links or farmer for the mind attribute, so he was really good. For me especially, because I had him max transcended, he was my go-to farmer, and still is my go-to farmer, because I don't have Ikaku. After a certain point, I stopped using Bogo, especially when he didn't have killer. I'd rather use someone with killer, and that's how I played Inheritance Trials, right? I would only ever play with characters that have killer because I like clearing fast. I don't care if I'm losing less links or potions because I'm not using a super links or farmer. I want to have fun and I want to clear fast. Mind, my go-to characters near the end was Yuha. He was my final character that I used to farm up the last bit of heart links or potions. He made these runs incredibly easy with or without killer. At points when I was going against no affiliation enemies, while the runs weren't the fastest, I did actually like using Esnor and I used him for a good month. Same goes for White. He was my go-to farmer after the 8th anniversary. Prior to him, I mean, again, I was basically forced to use Bargo. Prior to Bargo, I was basically forced to use 7th anniversary Ichigo, and it wasn't that fun, I'll be honest. I want to look at some of my technique characters, because one thing you'll notice that we did links for every character in the speed attribute. But the thing is, I don't have a good super links farmer. I mean, sure, I got Uryu, but lads, Uryu's not a good character, but be honest. I mean, he's alright. He's good enough. He doesn't meet my standard when it comes to a super links farmer. He was the first super links farmer that I did pull on this account, so I was grateful to have him. And I definitely did use him, but I can't remember using him that much. I did definitely switch to using better technique characters. At the time, Toshiro was my go-to farmer. Whenever the enemies were swordbirds, I definitely took him out. Near the end, since I did have access to Quincy Ichigo, he was my go-to character when it came to farming IT. And he was great last month specifically when there were human enemies. The maps were very linear, so he was able to clear super fast. My final bit of farming that was done and sped up was actually by Ichibe. This is the character that I understand a lot of people actually understand that he's actually good. I consider him the best technique character in the game, but I don't think people understand how good he actually is. We're going to showcase him in a couple days time, because man, this character was clearing super fast, faster than any other character in the game, and he's only 1-5. He was really good when it came to farming inheritance shards, especially since now he does have access to his killer ability, right? I guess prior to those characters, I was definitely using Upper Ichigo to farm, same with this particular Retsu, and also Aizen whenever there were Aranka enemies. I do want to specify one character that I will always glaze, because I don't think people glaze this character enough, right? 8th Anniversary Ichigo. Now, in my box, I had access to quite a bit of Super Linkso farmers. Power, I didn't have access to any Super Linkso farmer besides Swimsuit Momo, but I like when I'm farming Linkso Potions, Super Linkso Potions in particular, I like playing the game, I like hosting, I don't like getting carried. Now, 8th Anniversary Ichigo, because of how good he is as an autoer, again, the best autoer in the game without a doubt, no character can auto IT like he does, consistently. Because he's so good at autoing, I was able to auto inheritance shards. So using him, I was able to link up my entire technique box first and foremost before any other attribute, thanks to how easy he makes autoing IT. He's a character that people would say he's not all that, but he really is. Like, his highlight. The reason why he's good, in my opinion, is because he's an auto character. He's a unique SP character, and it's thanks to him, I was easily able to, any day power only came up, I would host a lobby, Linkso characters would join, and I would just carry them. I would start the quest, and I'd do something else in the meantime. Come back 2 minutes later without fail, and the quest has been done. So 8th Anniversary Ichigo by far is one of the MVPs for the power attribute, the MVP for the power attribute, because of him, I didn't need to get any other Super Linkso farmer. You know, I have access to Momo, never used her. I don't have Nelio, don't need her, don't have Yumachika, didn't need him, and don't have Mashiro, didn't need her. And it's all thanks to how good he is at altering content. Prior to him though, I guess my go-to farmer was obviously Yamamoto. He's a great character, love him. And then prior to him, I do remember actually doing a bit of farming with Kisuke, Bruno, Rukia, she was a good farmer for a bit, and of course 5th Anniversary Ichigo as well. Whenever they had killer, I would take them out. For the heart attribute, you know, at the start, Nini was my go-to farmer. She definitely carried me for a bit. That then took us into Concord Ichigo. He's not a farmer himself, but because of how he was designed, he made IT super easy. I definitely hosted a lot of lobbies of him. And then we came to Kaname. Now, Kaname as a character, I've actually never really used all that much. He's a Super Linkso farmer and also Linkso farmer. I used him a lot in IT, and Epic Raids. Surprisingly, even though it doesn't feel like it, he is in my top 5 most played characters. But the reason why this character was clutch is because when he did come out, we had the end of year co-op event, and because of him increasing the Linkso Potion drop rate, Super Linkso Potion drop rate, and also Droplet drop rate, I was able to amass a large amount of mine Super Linkso Potions, and also Droplets just from those 2 weeks where I actually used him. And it's because of those 2 weeks, alongside me using him in IZ, because he was an auto character, you know, IZ in of itself is easier compared to Inheritance Trials, more characters can auto that. And since I had him max transcended, and since he has a Dragon Vortex to drain, I would just auto IZ when it was on a 2x drop rate, and he now surprisingly is in my top 5. But he was great for farming Linkso Potions and Droplets. Nini was my go-to farm when it came to Epic Raid farming. Aizen I used a lot when he was obviously, you know, the best character in the game. And then my last bit of farming was done with Rangiku, really good farmer. So of course I would use her there. Other than that, is there any other attribute? I think we covered every attribute. But yeah, those are just my go-to farmers, right? My go-to character that I would always use. I guess if we want to go back in time a bit more, let's sort by link sort skill and go down even lower, right? Now, obviously, I was fortunate enough to actually pull most of the link sort characters on release, like Ryoka, Rukia, Kisuke, and Momo I had on release, so they were my go-to farmers. You know, if I'm highlighting characters, the character I should have highlighted from the get-go is Kisuke. Man, what a character. Still to this day, honestly worth using, especially when it comes to Epic Raids. He was a great character. And I think when it came to Linkshot Potions, I maxed out my heart characters first at level 10, you know, a couple years ago, because he just made IZ super easy, right? You know, all these other characters, especially Ruka and also Kenpachi, I mean, you had to manually play with them. Kisuke could just auto. Kisuke was amazing. In IZ Epic Raids, this character was absolutely superb at playing with, manually or autoing. Rukia was fun too. Momo I hated playing with, I'm not gonna lie. Retsu I did use quite a bit in Epic Raids. Sengo's with Shunsui, absolutely adore this character. Orihime, I never actually used her because I actually put her relatively late. My go-to farmer for technique potions at a time, believe it or not, until I max transcended him, was actually Kanfio Kenpachi. A bad character because they designed him to be used in IZ, a co-op game modes. And you know, Nad characters like this without guard break were kind of terrible to play with. But he did get better because we then switched the farming from IZ to Epic Raids. When they let us use Linkso characters in Epic Raids, Kenpachi got way better because Nad's characters are good in Epic Raids. And that's why I max transcended him. But that was basically like the old generation of farmers. And most of these characters now are the characters that I still actually use to this day. I guess if we were to highlight some droplet farmers, I don't have access to all of them. But when it came to farming droplets, Iban was an absolute clutch. He has the plus 10 guaranteed technique droplets while also increasing the drop rate. He was really good. Yatru would have been a great character for my account when it came to farming mine droplets, but I already farmed up all the droplets I needed prior to her releasing. Literally like a week later, when I finished farming up all the droplets, Yatru then came out. Balgo was my go-to farmer for the heart droplets. At the time, Kaname was my go-to farmer for mine droplets. And Senjumaru, despite it being a super Linkso farmer, also is a droplet farmer, so I also easily farmed up a bunch of droplets with her. So yeah, with that, lads, that's basically BBS completed. The video might have went on longer than intended, I'm not gonna lie, but again, there's a lot of characters to talk about. We finally got ahead and done it. For those that you've been watching me for like the last year or two, you might have known about this goal. I've been keeping you guys updated, link shotting all my entire box to T20. The main reason why I did it was because I just liked it. It's a habit in every gacha game. It's not just a BBS thing. Any game that I play, especially a game that I play for a long time, I like just maxing out the entire box. If I can, I'm going to do it, right? You know, the other gacha games that I play, I still have that mindset. I like maxing out my entire box. It just makes it look cool whenever I look at it. You feel that sense of accomplishment, even though it's just for a game. And since link sorting levels got easier over time, that's the reason why I did do it. You know, the next joke might be to max transcend all my characters. If I could do that, if I could max transcend every character I've accessed at 5-5, I would, but obviously we're limited on those resources. Linkso potions, droplets, and super Linkso potions you can farm, so they were obtainable. That's why I went ahead and done it. So this is something that I do in a lot of gacha games, but since BBS is my main gacha game, the one that I play more often than not, that's why I did the extra grind to go ahead and T20 my entire box. And you know, I'm happy that it's finally done. I can now focus on other parts of the game, start playing a bit more arena, start finally farming the point event, stack up a lot of summer tickets for the 9th anniversary. My goal right now at the bare minimum is to try and get 2.5 thousand summon tickets, and we have like 5 months to do that. Probably can do it, because right now I have access to, what, 333? That's not that bad. I haven't done much farming, to be fair. So right now, besides like the extra bit of farming that I will do for, you know, just to acquire some extra materials so I can have those items ready for any new characters that I do potentially pull, I definitely am going to farm a bit more point events. Try and get at least 15 million on a casual event every single point event, sometimes shoot up to 100 mil. I also, again, already specified that I do want to work on my top 5 most played characters, because right now it's kind of a mess. It's characters that I haven't used in a few years, to be fair. Like these characters, these top 5, I haven't used in a while. The only character that I still reliably use is 6th Anniversary Aizen in Guild Quest. So I do want to get most of those at my top 5. Probably get this right to up to 100k. Just to have it as a good number and stop using that. Obviously, my top 5 links goal is to get all Squad 0 characters there. Almost done that. Ichibei has 800 more runs to do. And then again, my other goal is to try and get to level 200. And now that I'm going to be farming point events, which I can, you know, easily mash out a bunch of tickets, get tickets back, put that back into the event to get more tickets, I should eventually hit level 200 a lot faster than it has been going the last year or two. Or ever since they introduced the, you know, the new level up system, since I've been mainly putting into co-op. I also, for those that don't know, spend orbs on soul tickets. So over the last year or two, I can't give a number, but I probably spent upwards to like, I would say minimum 5,000 orbs. Like I spend quite a few orbs a month on soul tickets for farming IT. My goal a day when it came to the last bit of farming was to get at least 3,000 super Linkso potions. So it didn't take that long. Like realistically, 3,000 super Linkso potions is like 50 soul tickets. So even on a day that I was feeling a bit lazy and casual, I'll just go in, spend my 50 tickets in co-op, and I'd be done for the day. Some days where I was feeling a bit grindy, I would go for like 9k, maybe even sometimes 15,000. Whenever I'm watching a movie, chilling with my boys, they're playing games or just chilling, talking, I'll be playing a bit of IT, a bit of Epic Raids, bit of IZ. But yeah, with that, it's finally done. It's finally done. So appreciate everyone that stuck around to the end of the video. BBS has officially been conquered. I'm not the first person to do this, by the way. I think I'm the third person that I know that at least that has max links with their entire box. And right now it feels like I'm finally sitting at the end of Infinity War, like just relaxing on a field. It's how it feels right now, I'm not gonna lie. This was my main goal for the last couple of so years, and I'm excited to look forward to my next goal again, you know, fixing my top 5 and then mass farming the point event. With that said though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you later next time. Take care and peace.